And can you tell us about your favorite like teachers or people that really impacted your time at Kiel?
Sure, absolutely. The people that influenced me the most, that I have come away thinking about the most, number one is Shirley Leister. I adored her. She was the English department chair, and I took her modern lit class, though it was for all the smart people, and I was probably the lowest achieving student she probably ever had. I don't think that anybody could have appreciated her more. The things she taught us and the interpretations of all the assignments. I don't know that I got high marks, but she got high marks with me because I just loved learning from her, and still adore her today, get together with her book study to this day. The other person that I would love for it to go down in history, that I give her accolades, and that is Coach George. My biggest extracurricular and the thing that I enjoyed the most was basketball. At the time, high school was only 3 years, so it was sophomore, junior, senior. And so my sophomore and junior year I played and loved it. It was my life. I know Coach George liked me, enjoyed me. When it came time senior year to have tryouts, we're ending tryout time, and she came to me just candidly, and I felt like she cared about me. And she said, "Listen, Tammy, I'm not going to cut you, but I really need for Tasha Blue to get more playing time, so you're probably not going to play. I just want you to know that." And I thanked her very much, and I was able to decide for myself how I wanted to spend my time, and I chose to get a job then my senior year and work my whole senior year. But I have never forgotten that. And now as an adult and watching my kids grow up and watching other kids and coaches that aren't as candid and compassionate, I have felt like that was a very compassionate thing for her to do, to let me know that what she saw as the future. And so many coaches don't do that with kids. They just waste their time a bit. So thank you, Coach George. I'll adore you forever and always think of that fondly. So those are my favorite. I love Dennis Lindsay. Gosh, in his cowboy boots, he was one of my favorites. I had Mr. Cummings in drafting. I thought I was going to be an architect. That's what I wanted to do, and I took his drafting class, was the only girl in it, and I stunk really bad, but I loved him. He was a doll. Anyway, lots of wonderful teachers here.
Did you do any like studying abroad or anything in high school with some classes?
Thank you. Yes, I did. It was in no way called studying abroad.
Okay.
That was not even invented yet. But the Spanish class, Gene Foldenauer, was our Spanish teacher, and he put together a trip to Mexico every other spring break. And so the timing was perfect that I would get to go. We did a smidge bit of fundraising, but you didn't, there was no GoFundMe, there was no formal fundraising really for it. These are all things that have been invented since 1980. But we did all kinds of preparation. We met for months. I think it was every Sunday night to learn the language. Then the next meeting would be to learn the currency and to learn the customs and the culture. And we did so much prep for the 1 week that we spent. And it was the most wonderful time of my life. It's where I love photography. I think I'm known a little bit for taking a lot of pictures, and that's where it started. My parents that Christmas bought me a camera to take pictures on that trip to Mexico, and ever since then I've taken pictures. I brought my photo album that shows all the people that went. We bonded. It was a family. So much culture was experienced in that 1 week. I absolutely loved it. In the end, and this is where I'll end that story, Dr. Foldenauer, we ended up on the beaches of Acapulco, and that's back when that was the place to go. I mean, it was the rich and famous place to go. You don't even hear about it anymore, really. But we were on the beaches, and we hear some shouting of some people who sound in distress, and there are a couple of women who had been sucked into the water in the undertow and could not swim. And so our teacher rescued some women right before our eyes. So that was pretty fun, pretty fantastic, a punctuation mark on a lot of learning. So, and I have North to thank for that. So.
Is there anything else that you want to add? Or do you know, was there a rivalry?
Oh my goodness, a rivalry, yes, absolutely. And it was so bittersweet for me because I came out of Southside. You girls may or may not know, but Southside was a junior high in its beginning. It was not an elementary school. And so there was North Side for, you know, part of the kids. There was Central for another part of the kids, and then Southside. And all the North Side kids went to North, all the Central kids went to East, and Southside got split. Half of us went to North, half went to East. And so all my friends, we all were heartbroken because we basically got split apart in half. And I thought, there's no way I can have a rivalry with my great buddies. But to answer your question about the atmosphere, there's absolute rivalry. And I think it remains as ferocious that we wanted to beat East at all costs. And athletically, academically, everything. We had to be bigger and better. But I still adored all my friends. Anyway, yeah.
Was there like a hip, kind of like cool hangout spot where everybody went on the weekends? Was there a place like that?
No, other than the main thing I remember on Friday nights, either after a football game or after a basketball game, we would go to Godfather's Pizza, which the building's since been torn down, I believe. It's not even standing anymore, over where Ricketts is, in that area. Anyway, it was packed. You couldn't get in there. And the overflow place was Noble Romans. I don't know if you've ever been in Noble Romans. No one goes there anymore. I can't believe the place is still in business, but believe at one time it was huge. That's where everybody went. Everybody went to Noble Romans Pizza. So, little tidbit. But those are the only places that I remember specifically.